when you see something.
Before you go,
Fuck
though.
him. Don't try to act like you're. The only thing you have is control the play.
Agenda West Side Beer.
Guys, welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. Sonny is here. He's not here, actually. Marcus is over here. You're giggling and breathing. You scared me. What are you doing over there?
Oh,
Dumb.
goodness gracious.
What's up, Sonny?
Sonny, we love you, baby. Yeah, we love you.
I'm glad you can make it. I mean,
Yes,
no.
yeah,
In my
you.
heart.
and yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow. Donovan is over here.
Oh, hey. I've got this like Reed Richards gray hair on the side of my head thing going on.
Oh man,
You look good.
Oh man,
Not Mr. Stretch, that's for sure. Oh, is it my turn now?
Penn Badgley is here.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how I'm supposed to possibly follow that.
oh
Oh,
man,
Exciting and new.
Because that's
Frank,
the
that's
show he's on?
what?
excellent hair. Excellent hair.
Oh, because that's the show he's on? I got it.
Oh, you.
Fabulous.
Wow.
Fabulous.
Sorry, Ben Badgley.
Oh man.
And over there in the lounge, I don't think he wants to be anywhere near us. Uncle Nephew Shane, looking cute.
Hey, everybody.
Man.
I want to be next
Take your video stills now.
I'm
Marcus, by the way. I'm Marcus.
Hey, everybody.
Guys, I'm going to let you guys pick this week what you want to start with.
Did you not introduce Marcus?
I did. I said Marcus.
Well,
Oh.
Sonny. It was,
I said Sonny and then Marcus.
Messed up first.
Yeah.
I messed up first, the blooper. Let's relive it.
Marcus seemed hurt, so I was like,
I don't
Oh,
think
no,
he
no,
does.
no.
I was okay.
I don't think he
No.
does.
No, I'm in
are
the
you?
shadow of greatness. Sonny,
Oh.
Sonny is
Oh.
greatness.
The shadow of Sonny.
You're the shadow of Sunny?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, boy.
Shadow of the sun.
We call him Smooth Sonny. A little less rough around the edges.
Less mushrooms.
Yes.
Yes. Very much so.
Sober Sonny.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Tanya said, "Thanks for doing your hair, Paul."
Let's you're saying choices.
I
let's
forgot.
Let's talk about
Go
Paul's hair for a
Oh,
little bit.
yeah.
That's it.
Okay, do you guys want to talk about Last of Us, or do you guys want to recap, talk a little bit more about Kang theories and Ant-Man?
I have to change my rating, guys.
Oh.
Okay.
Because you
so
saw it again.
I did.
Yes.
I
All
did. 7.5.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
so
So we
we're going to
lost.
talk about Kang and Ant-Man.
So
Go ahead.
I'll say this. I get why people don't like this movie.
All right.
I totally understand why people don't like this movie.
Mm.
When I first saw it that night, I had so much fun.
Right.
It was like finally something that can push us forward. But I understand this movie did not do a good job at explaining why Kang was nerfed in the quantum realm.
Thank you.
Right.
That was it. They didn't explain that he
Nerf,
didn't
nerf.
have his powers that he would have down there because he's bound by time and space. They They didn't explain that well.
No.
They also didn't explain that it was his suit who was giving him the powers for Katie, or when he was doing. They didn't give us that at all.
I didn't even know that till you just said it.
Yeah, so that was his suit, because at the end, when the ants run over him, you see his suit being destroyed.
And he lost his
that's
power
why-
again, and that's why he'll go boxing.
he can't win
Okay.
against him, and he's being cocky. And by the way, that fist-to-fist fight, there's only one move that Ant-Man does to kind of bring it to an equal, and that's when he grows big and punches him twice against the wall. That's the only thing that is even. Otherwise, Ant-Man is getting his little ant ass whooped the entire time. Because at one point he's like, you can't, and he's like, do you really think so? And you're like, oh dang, like this Kang is no joke. But they did not do a good job at telling us how they nerfed him in the movie,
Right.
which I think that's why it confused a lot of people as far as like, wait, he said he killed a Thor, but he can't even kill Ant-Man. Well, there's an explanation. They just didn't explain a lot of things very, very
technology.
well.
Right.
And even there's one point where he uses one more shot with his wrist. He shoots something from his suit and it was sparking, and then when he did that, it fell off, and then you were like, oh, that's why. It's because the suit controls everything.
Right.
That's what gives him his power.
Yeah.
So, and he does explain, I'm just a man.
Right.
I am just a man. But what he doesn't say is that he's thousands of years ahead in the future and knows technology better than anyone else. And
Right.
so there's a lot, and this could get really, really messy
Right.
if they don't do this right, because after the second time I saw the movie, I went into a deep dive on Kang, a real big deep dive on him. Very popular in the 70s and 80s, really, really popular. And then in the later years, Kang Dynasty is probably the best way to, the best storyline to go to as far as explaining who he is in more of a condensed version, as opposed to going through all the runs in the 70s and 80s, because he pops in and out a ton. Like he takes babies, he's like doing all this stuff. He becomes Rama Tut, and
Right.
we find out that he is from, Professor Timely and Rama Tut. They're all the same person. It gets really, really confusing. So there's a little bit of trepidation for me when it comes to Marvel. And I don't know that Ant-Man was the right movie to do it, because we had Loki. Why didn't we just have Loki season 2 be the next thing that introduces us to Kang, and then give us Ant-Man? I think that would have been better.
And it's been discussed that a lot of people were saying on IGN that they were just kind of posing like this open-ended question that Kang, they feel like is the right villain for this phase overall, but he might not have been the best villain choice for Ant-Man.
Right.
I agree.
And it almost seems as if they tried to. I don't know if they rushed it or what it is, but it seems like there's not enough. Well, they did. First of all, just to back up a minute, they did touch on the suit having a power briefly when
but you miss it quick.
Right. when Janet is talking about touching the power source of his ship, and she sees all the Kangs, and she realizes, oh, it's his suit. He just needed to get his suit so he can conquer. That's literally the only thing you have that kind of gives you a little indication about his how he could be nerfed, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And that 8, that's a big, like, even though it's a 8 to a 7.5, Donovan, that's a big jump. You know what I mean? Like, that means a lot.
Well, yeah, for me, because I watch it and I we're inundated with this stuff every week. We're doing research during the week for this stuff. We're watching other people's videos and seeing what they caught, and it helps for our show. So when I watched the movie a second time, I go, oh my gosh, like I missed so much. I think it was because I was just so happy to be with everyone, and it was a great time.
It was a good time.
And finally, we got a Marvel movie that was like the next phase, and it wasn't like phase 4.
Right. And I really appreciate that. I think that's a big thing.
So for me, it was like, yay, finally. But then seeing it again, I'm like, man, I can see why people. And then like MODOK was, he fell right into the, although funny at times, he fell right into the Marvel trope of what they do with their bad guys. Like you have a great villain who could be for a stretch of movies, and you get rid of him in one movie. Like, no more MODOK after this in the Marvel universe, unless they're like, we'll bring him back. But
spoiler.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Ant-Man and you watch the show, sorry.
Yeah. Trust me, that's spoil that.
So like MODOK is a funny character that is throughout Marvel timelines. Like we see him all the time, and you're like, here comes this guy again.
Especially with AIM. Yeah.
I think my issue with MODOK is not that he was a funny character. but that went, and not even that he died. It's the way he died. The MCU is at its best when it does its quips and its jokes, but also brings you back to heart. And they almost did that with MODOK. Like, I think Rocket Raccoon is a great version of that. He's always funny. He's always goofing. He's always being a nerd. But when something is serious, it's serious.
Right.
And I think the whole MODOK thing lost me. Like, I think the don't be a dick thing was great. I think that was funny. I think that was understandable. But I think when they're all standing around him, just watching him die, and they just seem so inconvenienced by this human being who has been irrevocably changed.
And there's a total disconnect.
Yeah. And I'm like,
all right, just get it over
I'm like,
with.
Paul, Scott, Cassie, and Janet, these have never struck me as people who would be so careless about somebody dying, especially somebody that is in the situation they're in because of themselves, but also because of you. And I was just like, it was really weird. It took a lot away from a lot of important time away from the movie, where like we could have learned more about Kang. And we could have understood more about what was going on. And I don't know. I'm on the fence about the whole it shouldn't have been Kang in this movie. I don't know if I really had a problem with him being the villain in this movie. I think it worked. I think it was fine. I just think they needed to give him a little more time and a little more better understanding of what was going on with him and why he was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, things felt expedited in this movie.
Right. And I'm like,
whoa, this
everything
is fast.
went
Okay, here we go.
super quick. And it's crazy because in this movie, it's super quick. It's only a 2 hour long movie, but there's a bunch of stuff that you still go, why did they like the Bill Murray thing? Why?
Yeah.
Why? And I saw you post something on Instagram, Marcus. It was Peyton Reed said there was no room for Luis Pena, or what's his
Michael
name?
Pena.
Michael Pena. Luis Pena is the UFC fighter. Luis, there we go.
Yeah.
But there was no room for him in the movie. Although I actually agree with that.
Right.
You made a great point that it's like, well, there was room for Bill Murray. It's like, yeah, I mean, why? What was his character? His character was there to be able to go, hey, Bill Murray's in this movie.
That's what,
Right.
That's
Kinda,
honestly, it's an old classic Hollywood trope. You could put butts in seats, and Bill Murray has never been in a Marvel movie, and I'm sure he was like, I'd like to be in a Marvel movie, and
I need the
you'll pay me
retirement.
$5 million,
medical.
and then you can kill me at the end, and I won't be in any other Marvel movie ever again. So
He basically just comes in, sits down, and goes, ha, your wife cheated on me, Hank. Cheated on you with me, Hank.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's like, all right, later.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that goes back to my original point. Yeah, everything was very expedited in terms of Kang. And then you have all these soliloquies with him that's supposed to, I guess, kind of present himself to us. And it just seems like, there needed to be some more pre-gaming with him, whether it be with Loki, the show itself, or something, kind of maybe a special or something that kind of gets us primed for him more. Kind of like the holiday special with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That kind of got us primed, even though it's a holiday special, still kind of got us thinking about Guardians
It's
of the
kind
Galaxy
of,
again.
there's not a lot of important storyline to it, but
Right.
it's still,
yeah, even
it's
in the
cool.
the
to-
post-credit scene, the second post-credit scene, we see it's a Loki scene from Loki season 2 of him going to see Victor Timely. Like, what if we had seen that first?
Right.
I have
Right.
a tinfoil hat theory about that.
Uh-oh. Look out,
about
Sonny,
that.
wherever you are.
Shout out, Sonny. And it's partly because I really hope and believe this is what they should do. I hope that Kang in that post-credit scene is the one from Ant-Man, is the one from the end of Quantumania. I don't care how they do it. I think to salvage this character,
That it's the same Kang.
yes,
Okay.
I think it will be.
I think the problem they're having right now with like general audiences and even us is we're like, okay, who are we worried about? Yeah, it's all fun and it's all well and good to say, oh, there's a bunch of them. We're worried about all of them.
Right.
That's not how storytelling works. That's not how a compelling story works. You need to understand, okay, this is what is coming. This is what I have to worry about. This is the entity that is unstoppable and is unlike everything else. What I'm hoping they do is they reintroduce the Conqueror Kang as quickly as possible and have him stamp out those other Kangs, and then that will put him on a pedestal and go, okay, we really do need to worry about him, because the big problem after Ant-Man was, well, he doesn't actually seem like that big of a threat.
We don't know exactly if you see once he's back in San Francisco. We don't know if the timeline has been shifted a little bit, because he's starting to have that inner monologue, like, who's he talking to exactly? He's questioning himself,
Right.
kind of thing. And I mean, we could make all kinds of different theories about what we think this movie is going to turn into, and if we see Kang again. Shane, are you more inclined to watch this movie? Did you watch it again yet? No.
I haven't watched it again. No, but
I saw it again. I felt the same way about the movies.
But I took into account what everybody said last week, and I really thought I thought some things were done well, and I thought the thing that was probably done the most poor was the relationship between Scott and Cassie. I thought that was done so poorly. We didn't see any kind of real emotional connection between them until the very end, where she saves pulls his fat out of the fryer. But I mean, not Cassie, but Wasp.
Oh yeah,
Hope. Yeah, Hope.
Yes.
I was like, I don't know if I agree, but no, Hope. Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, we saw everything between Scott and Cassie, but
lack of dialogue.
It was lack of dialogue between Scott and Hope. I think once she saves him at the end, that was one thing. But throughout the movie, I was hoping there'd be a lot more of their dynamic in this film, where we really see them connect and see them work together in this film way better than what we got.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would think that would save Scott from Kang would be a true, them coming together between Scott and Hope and actually becoming. It's called Ant-Man and the Wasp, for God's sake. Like you barely have her in the movie.
That is a great point.
That is very true.
That would have made that end fight scene, I think, a little
so
more
much
compelling.
more compelling and more.
If she
more
was
emotional,
there the
like you
whole
said.
time. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well,
that's all I have to say about that.
I think though too, it's gonna make people go back and probably when this comes out, you're probably gonna go back and watch that. Those two post-credit scenes. I mean, they stand on their own,
Right.
But I had a buddy of ours that he's hung out in the studio with us before. Austin sent me a message. He knows Marvel about the MCU. That's to his extent of Marvel.
Right.
And he sent me this as just like him saying, like, I'm not a guy that really reads the comics, but this is his analysis. I'm going to read it really quickly. I just want you guys to give me like a little quick reaction. I feel like Marvel's lost its touch. It's not grounded like before. The post-credit scene I'm watching with my friend, and we're confused by all the Kangs. They're going to lose a lot of fans that don't read or understand what's happening.
I agree.
Wait for it. It's still not clear what's going to happen next. Marvel needs to go back to their roots and maybe rewatch. He's saying to Marvel to go back and rewatch Winter Soldier and Iron Man and those things again, so they can go back to basics. So you can kind of have that love again for the characters in these movies. We don't have a Tony Stark. We don't have Steve Rogers anymore.
Right.
A lot of this stuff with these storylines, you mentioned the movie being rushed. I don't know if them making this movie 20 minutes longer or 30 minutes longer is really going to help it any, because they try to pack so much stuff in these films now to just move it along. I don't know what the solution is.
Their formula.
Okay.
I would think it's their formula. And that might be the very problem. It's getting too formulaic.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
When it becomes too formulaic, it becomes more predictable, and then you have people who can, pretty much come pretty close to just telling you what's going to happen in the movie before they even watch it.
Sure.
Because we can already kind of, with this movie, we were already kind of on that point where we could pretty much guess what was going to happen.
Sure.
Aside from certain
I wasn't
details.
surprised by anything, yeah.
Exactly. And so the fact that you weren't surprised, that's part of the formula.
But do you think that they're
predictable.
not James Gunn, but Lord Feige is kind of addressing what they're doing with the MCU as a whole? It sounds like now we're only going to get 2 shows.
Right.
We don't have release dates for either of them yet, for Loki season 2 and Secret Invasion. It was always assumed the Secret Invasion was going to be first. It doesn't really seem like it matters when they release it. Now it could come after Loki season 2, which is supposed to be June, July, we think. And we're going to get Guardians Volume 3, and we're going to get the Captain Marvel sequel, The Marvels. It's been pushed back until November. So that solidifies for me, as a guy who's watching on the outside, as far as how they map this stuff out.
Right.
They don't have a lot else planned for the MCU for this year. This is their plan. They want this stuff to kind of be able to sit on its own for you to be able to process it. Right. It gives us that time to kind of decide, I'm going to go back and watch Loki, the first season again. I've watched it a few times.
It's been a while. Yeah.
But I want to go back and watch it because I think there's little... I didn't know this until one of the shows was heavy spoilers, or New Rockstars. They're pointing out that Jonathan Majors does all the voices for those statues. when they're talking to the tree,
TVA.
the TVA, when they're talking to those
okay.
statues.
Yeah.
That's all of his voices, and one of the voices sounds like Immortus when he does the Immortus voice at the end of the first post-credit scene. With the three Kangs, it's the Council of Kangs. It's Immortus and Ramatut, and I think it's Kang Prime. I'm not sure what the third Kang is supposed to be. I'm assuming it's Kang Prime. Somebody get in the chat and tell me who that third Kang is supposed to be. I'm interested in seeing how they develop this, and my concern is Jonathan Majors being able to. I know he's a phenomenal actor,
Right.
but I think people are going to maybe get a little lost.
They need to focus up
Right.
Yeah.
on which character we need to be
Yeah.
worried about.
And what is he after?
Right.
He wants to win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
win, cool. But then like the biggest thing with Kang is
Wanna
like
win.
Renslayer, like Ravonna
Win,
Renslayer is like that is a big motive for him to do the things that he's doing because he found love and he'll do anything for it. And at one
Right.
point in the comics, to try and impress her, he brings Avengers from other timelines and kills them in front of her to show his power to
Right.
her, and she's not falling for it, and
Is
it
it
breaks his
her?
heart. Yeah.
I mean, you think that that's his motivation?
I mean, well, they've introduced her to us in
Yeah,
Loki,
she's in Loki.
and even at the end of that, we were like, "What's going on with her character? Like, what is happening here?" So again, they're giving us stuff, but they're not giving us anything. So we walk
I
away
think
going like,
you just hit the nail on the head. It feels like in the past movies, or the first three phases, a movie was a character driven movie that may have had a couple things that tied in, or it was an event movie and it was a culmination of a bunch of things.
Right.
Now it seems like every movie
"Is an event."
it's like an event, but it's also a character movie, and the plot and then what's going on is getting lost, and that's trying to be both at the same time, trying to lay groundwork and be an event at the same time, and it's getting muddled down, and we don't have all the information and all the have seen everything and been able to grow with the characters as we had in the past. And I just it's really weird because I didn't hate this movie. I thought it was fun. It was just I was just left it going. Okay.
You liked it less. I mean, after you saw it
Yeah.
the second time, I felt exactly the same. I didn't really like it any more or less after I watched the
You
second
know what
time.
Kang in this movie reminds me of? There's a Rick and Morty episode where there's a character and his motivation is motivation. And it's like played as this is stupid and this is what they do in movies. It's like a satire. And I'm like, that's literally what Kang's motivation is in this movie. It's motivation. It's poorly fleshed out. And yeah, you can pull on strings and think about it and go, okay, I guess this could be it. This could be it. But it's not clear and it's not compelling. It's his motivation is he's motivated to go do something.
Well, that and right now we don't have Robert Downey Jr. We don't have a Robert Downey Jr. for the MCU. As much as people want to say like, oh, like everybody did great for their part. No, RDJ was the glue that kept everything together as far as I'm concerned, as far as the whole
Especially
storyline.
Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole Avengers group. He wasn't the leader of the Avengers, but you could definitely say that he was definitely the vice president of that. And then like, is Thor now the leader, the goofy Thor? Like, because that's all he is a big goofball.
Right. at
Black
this point.
Widow's dead.
Hey.
Tony's gone. Steve Rogers isn't coming back. Hulk's a single dad now, so he's got to figure that out.
Right.
If you haven't watched She-Hulk. And then you've got Doctor Strange, who technically is not even an
Figure out
Avenger.
where I'm at.
Right.
For those of you who haven't watched She-Hulk,
Yeah. Sorry.
previously on She-Hulk,
Yeah. So, and then you have Doctor Strange, who's not even an Avenger. He just showed up because like the world needed to be saved. So it's not the official. I think they're going to try and make Spider-Man be the guy who's leading the Avengers now.
I would like that.
Which is fine. I think if Tom Holland,
rumor.
if they write him a little more mature, please, dear God, don't make him like a high schooler anymore. Let him
They
be a
won't.
college kid.
I feel like
I
they've
promise
moved
you
him-
they won't.
I feel like they've moved him into. I mean, whatever, Shane. I feel like
He's gonna be the same dude. He's always gonna be that same dude. in these movies.
But that's
I gotta go back to prom. Let's go back to prom. Oh my God, I'm late for my date. MJ, I'm running.
all that to say is we don't have
Please.
the machismo that we had before with
you don't.
our Avengers. Like, who's leading the Avengers? What's going on? Because I think what made the Infinity Saga so special is that not a lot of people knew who Thanos was. And then the people who did know, we were like, oh, they're going for the Infinity Gauntlet. We understand. Like, what with Kang, because there's so many different storylines and so
like, what are
many
we doing
things.
here?
We're like, okay, cool. Kang can do all these great things, and he's supposed to be the entree, and Thanos was the appetizer. That's Kevin Feige's words, not mine. I don't know what I'm eating. What am I eating here?
Well, pizza later, hopefully.
What is this? So,
What kind of pizza?
there's no conviction. Nothing is like
No,
Paul
yeah.
said. There's nothing was grounded. There's no like, okay, like we have to bind together to do this, and maybe they'll stick the landing. I don't know, but so far the dismount has been
Definitely
This
concerned.
is still the first movie. Maybe they can clean everything up here within the next. I don't know. It seems so disjointed.
As rocky as everything has been, I am still very excited for Guardians because I
Yes.
feel like that's
Yeah,
going to
sure.
be pretty on its
Emotional,
own,
yeah.
not super connected to
fire
everything
James
else,
Gunn.
and it's going to be like loosely connected to everything, I'm sure, but it's going to be the rounding out and closing of characters we have loved and been with for a very long time. And it's James Gunn, and we all trust him, especially with Guardians. So I'm excited for that movie. As far as the developing stuff for this phase, I'm a little bit like, I don't know where all that is going.
Do you guys actually think this was an Ant-Man movie? Because to me, when I think about it, and I think
I think
see
it started out to be an anime
right,
movie.
right. Because with looking at all the
There's
everyone's
ants.
different, yeah, exactly. with all the different reactions I'm starting to see
And
on the
there's men.
interwebs and all that kind of stuff, it seems like it starts off as an Ant-Man movie, and then all of a sudden the Ant-Man movie part of it takes a backseat to Kang. Whereas if you compare it to, like, let's say Wakanda Forever, yeah, Namor dominated. He was a great character, compelling and everything, but it was still a Black Panther movie. You still felt
I think
like
that's
you
fair.
were still
Did you
in
see
Black-
that
you know,
thing about
Black Panther.
the VFX and the like the CGI, the companies that are working on
Yeah,
it?
they were saying
They're
they were
saying
overdone.
that
Yeah.
they were overworked and they
Right.
were under budgeted because they said Disney was throwing all their money at Wakanda Forever. They
Right.
weren't giving us the same operating budget to
Right.
work with. I mean, I don't think the movie looked bad.
No, I found that interesting because, to be honest with you, I didn't mind the CGI.
The
at all.
MODOK butt looked realistic.
Yeah, that's
That's so funny.
I didn't find any issue with the CGI. I thought it was
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah,
thought
it didn't bug me.
it almost gave it a fantasy element to the movie.
I think it was one of
which
the better part of the movies.
right. It was very cool to see that fresh
I
perspective of the
believed
quantum
the world
world.
they were in.
The Quantum was
Exactly.
definitely a character in the
Yeah,
movie.
Right. But yeah, that was interesting. I feel sorry for them.
But are we thinking that they're just totally working on the villain part of this, and not so much the superhero part
Right.
of this anymore? They're just directly as long as the villains are good, because Thanos was so popular. Thanos was insanely popular. People loved Thanos. By the time the whole Infinity War saga was over, the people were like, "Yeah, Thanos wasn't that bad of a guy." I don't think. I thought a bunch of people loved
was it?
Thanos.
Who was it
Thanos was
recently?
right.
James Cameron.
James Cameron
Yeah, Thanos-
recently said
like
he
relates to
identifies with
yeah.
Thanos.
Yeah. Thanos was right. Yeah.
It's the
People
most
love
James
Thanos.
Cameron thing he ever could have said.
There's bumper stickers that say the same thing. Thanos was right.
Yeah.
Half the universe needs to just disappear.
Maybe they're just like, well, maybe now we could do the same thing with Kang. Like, everybody's gonna love Kang by the time we're done with this. Ooh.
I mean, the verdict's out. I mean, I think Jonathan Majors is a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
Right.
We get to see him in theaters in like 2 or 3 more weeks. He's going to be in Creed 3.
Absolutely.
I mean-
Michael B. Jordan's nose off.
Oh man,
That's right.
Let me down. I don't know. When you started talking about Black Panther, I started thinking about Rihanna. Oh, man,
It's happening.
I think I need another drink on that one.
Riri.
I don't know if everybody's going to come to agreement on as far as Kang and Ant-Man
agree.
and the overall
agree.
success of it. But I think we all can agree on Last of Us being a great show.
Yes.
This past Sunday, we got episode 6. So there's only 3 episodes left, guys, of this first season. It's been good so far. We have a few minutes. We're going to get into this. What did you guys think about this show overall? And how do you think this is going to measure up with anything else coming out this year for a TV series? As far as our nerd genre type of stuff we're talking about, how do you think it's going to
I
hold
get
up?
to watch 2 shows on Sunday: Last of Us and 1923, the Yellowstone origin show.
Oh wow.
Shout
I need
out.
to watch that.
Love the Yellowstone universe.
That's
A
the
lot
one
of
with
fun.
Indiana Jones.
Correct.
Okay.
He's like, get off my farm.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Han Solo.
But Last of Us is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
great.
all of us who have watched the gameplay or have played the game, we're like, you guys have no idea.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the tip of the iceberg. Like the stuff that you're seeing now is just like, oh, it's gonna get Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to get gut wrenching here at some point. And
Yeah.
We've already had a few
God.
gut wrenching
I
moments.
we
Right.
sure have.
We have.
There's
I think this is
scared.
one of the most emotionally charged shows. And again, if every video game studio could watch this and have this
Right.
be the model for how they do narrative gaming stories, this is the way to go as far as long form is concerned. But as
Right.
far as like some of the other epics, like God of War,
Right.
God of War should definitely be like
Are
a
they doing
trilogy
a God
movie.
of War
It's gonna
show?
be a TV show on Amazon Prime.
There you
Oh,
go.
nice.
So we'll see
Okay.
how that goes.
Interesting.
But as a caveat to what Donovan was saying, I do think that the Last of Us producers are very lucky in the sense that the story from the Last of Us games is just really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is just some things that happen in that story. Like we've seen some of them already happen, like at the end of not this past week's episode, but episode 5, just heart-wrenching stuff. It's like, after last week's episode, I was yelling at my TV, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. And then he did what I didn't want him to do. And I was like sitting there like welling up. I was like, this is sad. And there's stuff with just Joel is such a great character.
Yeah.
And boy, if you love that character and you love Ellie, this show is going to be an emotional
Ooh,
ride.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul cries every week, everybody.
I didn't cry this week.
Oh,
When he was sitting there talking
week
to Tommy,
6,
though,
no
He
crying.
cries
when
every
he was
you
sitting there
felt it.
talking to Tommy and he's like, I need you to take the girl. I'm not strong enough. I can't do it. And
Yeah.
she's
Paul
like, okay, I'll
cries
take it.
every week. Everybody, listen to me right now.
I have no
Every
shame. I'm a
week he
sensitive
cries.
man. It's fine.
He texts us as soon
I
as the
do.
show's over.
I put it on
cried
Twitter,
again.
too.
I cried again.
I've got no shame. Shane, you're not doing what you think you're doing.
I'm just kidding.
It's like, good night, everyone. Cried myself to sleep.
Episode 6.
Eyes are real tired now. Gonna go to bed.
The show's been great. I've really enjoyed it. I mean, as a guy that didn't play the game, I watched a variant play for hours. I've really enjoyed the storytelling. That's the thing that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Is like all the cinematics and the storytelling. And I mean, watch it. I watched episode 6 with him Sunday night, and he was just like shaking his head. He was,
It's wild.
This is gonna be messed up. And just like, just wait. I was like, yeah, I can't.
I'm glad I don't know
I'm
what's
upset.
going to happen. I'm
Yeah.
very happy about that.
Right.
Because I have a
It's
general
very
idea
compelling.
about
Yeah.
how the first game goes. I don't really know anything.
end of the
after
first game.
that, so I'm just like,
The game is
Oof.
the story
Episode
is so
6 was
good.
great, though. This past episode, it's probably one of my favorite episodes, I'd have to say, just because we get, when you're going through the show and you're watching it and you're getting this steady, increase of tension and suspense and all the stuff that comes with this, this perilous journey that these characters are going through. And then all of a sudden you get, you still get that. You still get the suspense and the tension because you don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, you also get a period where the characters and the audience too, the viewers who are watching this, you get a period of rest where they find a safe space. They
Right.
find a place where they can kind of regroup. They can shower. They can have a meal. They can kind of have a little bit of normalcy, sort of,
Just for a
minute.
moment, yeah.
just for a moment, and then we move on. I like episodes like that.
Right.
I like those periods of rest because that makes you connect with them as a human
I agree,
being
yeah.
more, I think. And with that, I mean, this has to be one of my favorite episodes. I would
Ellie
say.
comes across as a little more rigid, and she's
Right.
she's connected now. She's bonded with Joel.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you've seen that
Completely,
over
yeah.
the first 5 episodes where she gets in the episode. It's like it's Joel's family, but she seems like she's very no, get away, like he's
Right.
he's mine, kind of thing.
Right.
She's protective of him,
Right.
and it's his actual family,
Right.
kind of thing.
There's
So,
a scene in this episode that they had an opportunity to make not play it very well, and they did, where Ellie is talking to Joel, and Ellie mentions the passing of Joel's daughter, and Joel goes, "Don't talk about her. You don't know what I've lost." And Ellie's like, "Yes, I do." She's like,
Yeah.
"You're not the only person that has lost people."
It's like ripped straight from the
And I
game.
was like, that moment was played so well. They had an opportunity to make Ellie look small and not
Right.
like
Cower away. kinda.
powerful character, and saying that, no, I have my own problems too, Joel, and you are one of my only pieces in this world right now. Please don't leave me.
Right.
And that played so well for me.
She's
did.
so
That was a
much
good one.
better than I thought she was going to be in this role.
Right.
I mean,
good,
I think she's a good actress. She was really great as Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But in this
Still
role,
thought Lyanna Mormont was her real name in Bella Ramsey.
I remember. I remember.
Her Game of Thrones name.
Bella Ramsey sounds like a Game of Thrones.
She's
man.
a Ramsey.
Guys, before we get out of here,
Neville Longbottom.
we
Wait,
we had like 15 trailers to watch last week, so we didn't quite get to this one.
Okay.
So we're gonna now watch together the John Wick 4 trailer coming exclusively to theaters March 24th.
Oh my goodness.
He's gonna shoot everybody.
I wish Sonny was here. 'cause
Stay tuned.
He'd be like, oh man.
Here we go.
Goes out
bring
to
it.
you, Mr. Wick.
42 regular, wasn't it?
Have you not seen this, Shane?
And so it begins.
Salient Tacticals made a mint off of his guns.
Challenge you to single combat.
If you win, you'll have your freedom.
And when I see you, I'ma take what I want, so
Amen.
Bring the house down, boy.
y'all feel the wrath of the devil. Many try, many die if you wanna war. Get it bloody.
That's a good John right there.
The only way John Wick will ever have freedom and peace is in death.
Yeah.
Right here.
Not really.
High table. Yep. Yes. Oh yeah. Yep.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's gonna have to bring that high table down. He's
Baby,
gonna have to
baby,
bring it
come
all
on.
down.
I think that
Tear the
movie
house
might
down.
be the closest movie to a comic book movie that we're getting that actually feels like a comic book.
Yes.
Like I see that and I think like I
Yeah.
get like Red vibes or
Yes,
I,
absolutely. Yeah.
It feels like a really cool like Dark Horse comic that we're watching with these movies. I didn't like the third
100%.
one. I didn't like. I thought the pacing was-
Parabellum.
Yeah,
Communicado. That's all we had the whole time.
Well, see, the thing that threw us off is originally John Wick was supposed to be a trilogy. That's what they said.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a trilogy. And all of a sudden, the way it ended, and we're like, what? And then they announced that they're working on a 4. We're like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So, in true comic book form, they're like, oh, we'll
keep it going.
Yeah,
Keep
we'll
the party
keep it as
That's
a
how it
mini.
feels.
It's a mini. It's a 5-issue mini. Oh, no, it's selling well, so we're going to make it an
Keep the
ongoing.
party
That's
going.
everything with Boom Studios is like, this is a 6-issue miniseries. Well, I'm just kidding. It's ongoing.
Right.
Here's
So
volume
totally
1
DC.
and then here's volume 2. So there's another movie coming out called I think it's called Siru or Siku. I'm not Mimi Siku. Jungle the Jungle. Anyone? That's an old reference right there. But there's a movie about a Polish gold miner who finds gold that is 563 miles away from the nearest bank. And in between the gold and that bank is the entire Nazi army. And he has to fight all of these Nazis to get to the gold because they find that he's a gold miner. And he is like the John Wick of Nazi killers. And the tagline
like
is
that.
the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi.
Wow.
So it's just this guy killing Nazis on his way to the bank in Poland during 1944.
All the way to the blood
Total
bank.
comic book trope.
Yeah, and it's done by the producers and makers of John Wick.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So if you, I'll send you guys the link in our
Please.
group chat.
Maybe we'll watch it next week.
Awesome, but yeah, that looks a lot more entertaining than the third one. I can't wait, and I'll be there for it.
Shane, are you excommunicadoing us?
Yes, absolutely, Mr.
Give it your best shot.
No, I'm on board. I haven't seen that trailer yet, and then now that I've seen it, like I was on board before, just because it's John Wick and yada yada yada. But boy, am I really on board! I bet Sonny is somewhere just.
Oh, he's freaking
Yeah,
out.
he's saying, "Let's go."
He's rubbing lotion on his
Yeah.
body. He's like, John Wick.
Oh, John Wick.
What I will say is they've done successfully is when you do sequels, they've done what seems to work well time on wise is expand the world. each subsequent John Wick, we see more and more of that world he operates in.
Yeah.
And that works, Whereas with certain sequels, you're like, okay, this is the same thing, just different
They're
person,
doing a
different
spin-off,
villain,
right?
or whatever.
With what's her name? The Smoke Show.
Yeah.
Anna de Armas.
Yeah, there was like
Ballerina?
in
Is it
the
called?
Ballerina.
yeah. In the it was what was funny is like I think it was in John Wick 3, the special features of the actual Blu-ray. One of the interviews was with a producer, and they were talking about we're formulating. I think they were going to call it the Continental, where they were going to base a series off of that hotel and how that universe works with the assassins and everything. So I'm assuming that maybe this Ballerina spinoff may be part of that or taken from that in some respect. So that should be fun. We'll
That'll
see.
be good.
Paul, what do you got for the people?
What do I have for the people? Like in regards to the John Wick 4?
Just in whatever.
No.
Whatever you like.
I mean, I'm not like the hugest fan of the John Wick stuff. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's
fun.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm not the hugest fan though.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen the second one. I watched the first one, really loved it. Watched the third one, thought it was all right. Kwan's over there having a conniption.
I know, Quan.
And then I'm gonna. My favorite part of any of them is when he fights Boban Marjanovic. I can't say his name.
Ooh, that was dope.
Easy for
Whatever.
you to say.
That was
When he
dope.
fights him in the library at the beginning of the third one, I think, right? Yeah,
That's
that
the
was
third
super
one.
dope.
I just like Keanu Reeves' like nonsense lines in the movie. They're
Well,
like
here-
they're supposed to be taglines or one-liners. So be like,
I'm gonna need a
Well, you bring me to a question.
Bring me a gun.
How much of the enjoyment of these films is Keanu Reeves? I'd say a large part of it, right?
Yes.
That is my
Big
kind of
part.
like, okay, I don't know how interested I am in a Continental series that has nothing to do with Keanu. Like, I'm
That's
just
true.
like, I just
That
don't-
could be.
But
it
also,
could fall
I'm not the
flat.
hugest fan of these, so I'm just
Right.
like,
It could fall flat.
There's
We
no-
never
I just
know.
As
want
long as there's
Keanu Reeves.
fighting.
I just want Keanu Reeves to say random things from him. He's like, yeah,
I need a gun.
I'm gonna bake a cake.
what does he say? You're like, he says something in like the trailer for the third one, where he's like, yeah, I'm thinking I need a gun, and I'm like, bro, if that was anybody
I'm
but
back.
Keanu,
I think I'm back.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I think I'm
And
back.
I'm like,
People
if any-
think I'm gone, but I'm starting to think, yeah, I'm back. That's a little Nick Cage, but
And if any other actor had delivered that line, you'd be like, this movie's gonna
No.
be the dumbest thing I've ever
course.
watched. But because it's Keanu, you're like, oh, it's
Keanu is
Baba
not only
Yaga.
Keanu is not only a fun actor, but he seems to be a great person off the behind from when he's not on camera.
Keanu
as
Reeves seems
well.
like a good dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a good dude, and you just want to love him and support him. That's why like Berserker went crazy comic book
That
wise,
should
and
be
now
coming soon, yeah.
we're now on our next month. The last issue 12 is coming out, so that'll be his last, and it's an oversized issue. And what's funny is in the back of that comic, there's an interview between him and Matt Keint, and it says signed. And it said like Matt Keint was somewhere stateside, and it had Keanu Reeves in Prague. So I'm assuming that interview was done, while he was still filming John Wick 4.
Yeah,
so
probably.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
just
So
bullet holes in a guy.
You're
gonna need a tampon.
He said bullet holes. I did not think that's what he said. Anyways, what else do I have for the people?
What do you got? How could they get a hold of us in the social world, Paul?
You can get a hold of us on the social world at Into the West Comics on Instagram, at Into_Comics on Twitter, Into the West Comics on TikTok. We're posting there all the time now. And also Spotify, Apple Pods, anywhere you listen to a podcast. If you're like, I can't watch these nerds be nerds, go listen to us be nerds.
oh, cool.
And
Uncle,
Feed
nephew.
Finder as well.
On Feed Finder, Uncle Nephew.
As long as I can hear Donovan do Keanu, that's what I have for the people. I want every now and then. I just want him to give a Keanu. Yeah, yeah.
Here it goes.
I need a gun.
That's all I got, babe.
The touch, the feel of cotton. Yeah, the fabric of our lives.
Brother Marcus.
Hey guys, read comics. When you're if you're burned out on the TV shows or anything like that, or even the comics themselves, manga as well. I've been actually telling people a lot. There's a lot of really good manga out there right now. Chainsaw Man, Sakamoto Days. A lot of those are really good. So if you want to refresh your palate, if you're tired of Marvel, tired of DC, you want something a little different, try that as well.
Yeah, I am tired of them.
Guys,
Spy
we will
family.
talk to you next week. It's pizza time in America. Have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Have a great week,
Yes.
guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Damn Max.